What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we got a personal Raptor 700 long travel big 3 plus cam finally getting its time in the shop. So I wish I would have done this whenever I did the build, but there was so much other things that I was focused on. It was the first time I really built a Raptor fully out, and this being my personal one, I had a lot of little things, kind of like the RP original logo versus the stainless, the wheels. It actually came with this back skid plate from the previous owner. It did okay. It's good for protection, but it really limited ground clearance. And then I also want to match the swing arm with the rest of the build. So that's what we're gonna do today. I got one of the last eBay dual rotor guards for the rear. I think these were discontinued. Honestly, they didn't fit 100% the best. I'm pretty sure the bolt holes were drilled about backwards. You could still put them on, but I just like the look of it. So I have one on my race bike, and it's got beat up for 7 races now. And the coating on it is a little bit scratched up. This one we had re-anodized by Rocket Machine. So they helped us out with that because there was only blue left in stock unless you wanted to place an order for 100, and I don't need 100 of them. I just needed like 1 or 2. So today I'm just going to go ahead and do a mock-up, make sure that this sprocket guard will fit with the dual row. The Raptor swing arm is different, and I don't know if this advertised that it fits Raptor, but I knew that the sprocket hub was the same size on these. So just getting that broke down. We already got the axle nut broke loose before we put on the stand, because this will be the last time it touches the ground for a little while we get all the parts powder coated. Finally got our parts back from Powdercoat. We did have a mishap on this one. There was like a fingerprint. I think they did black and then the lighter color. So there was like a fingerprint right in the top of it of black, so they had to sand it down and redo it. But there is some cleanups we gotta do. This one, the tape must have slipped or something. And we don't want that grinding up into little tiny pebbles and then getting in our bearings. And then all of these, get the dust out of them, all that good stuff. If there's any threads that we need to chase, then we'll chase them and get all these prepped to get the bearings pressed back in. We do not want any sand inside of our needle bearings because it'll most likely bend the bearing. You probably won't even get it back in there. So we don't want that to happen. And then we probably have some threads on this side that we need to run a tap through just to make sure they're clean. We're going to try just the sandpaper one lightly, see what that kind of looks like. Slow this guy down, Jesus. I think there's probably a little bit of sand and a little bit of powder. So that's the stuff we don't want in there. Feels like there's a little piece of powder stuck in this one. Wish this thing wouldn't start up full speed. Time for the big one. Probably the one that needs the most work too. you hear that. That is full of sand and powder. After I told them that there's any way they can tape it, to please do something. And I mean, maybe right there they tried to tape it, but I just don't see how that much powder and sand got inside of it. And right about here, I decided to get up and walk the swing arm and the sprocket hub across the garage to the Raptor build sitting on a stand, and realized that the gray isn't even right. So they didn't even coat the color that I had previously got. It's like 5 shades darker. Wasted $200 after cleaning it all up, so wasted a bunch of time driving back and forth and having to sand and get all that crap out of there. So don't be afraid to shop around your powder coater. That's what I ended up having to do, and found a guy that has done Harleys forever and ever. So if he can please Harley owners, I'm sure that my off-road stuff that gets beat up will be just fine in his shop. So fast forward, another reasonable $190 this time. He cleaned them, zero powder in any of the threads. Picked them up. You would have thought that they came from what's like the Chopper Show, whatever that one was. Every part saran wrapped, taped, everything. Just if you find a good powder coater, pay them exactly what they want. Maybe even leave them a tip. Alright, round 2, having parts powder coated. This one was a win. We found a new guy that does it much closer to the house, and he was able to match the original color. So the other one was just a waste of $175 for no reason. But this looks much better. We might have a tiny bit of cleanup to do around the inside, which is really hard to miss with the powder. But outside, I would feel comfortable just sticking bearings in that. Same thing with the carrier, completely smooth. He cleaned it out or did a really good job taking it off. We're gonna chase just this one. These threads look perfect. This one looks like the bolt might have been in it, so we'll just chase that one. We'll probably have to wiggle the bolt through this top hole because that's one of the ones that it's hard to cover that one up. But yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like whenever you pick up your powder coat. Everything was wrapped really nice, each individual part. We got all of our small parts. So there's the sprocket hub, some brake line fittings, and you can see that our shield looks way better. It actually matches now. So yeah, we got to pop some bearings back into all these parts, get them all greased up. Some of them got some new seals, and then we can put them back in the old Raptor that's been looking sad for the last month or so. No movie today, not yet. Just the Tim the Tap Man playing some, I think it's Ark. I haven't played it, but no time to play myself today, so we'll just listen to them play. But let's get some bearings popped back in. This is gonna be tricky. With one person. Get some persuasion. So just some slight clearancing, nothing big, just with the Dremel tool. So we can still look really nice on the top. We just took some out where we know that the barrel has to ride for the shock. So let's try this again. Slide this guy in here. Look at that. That was impressive. Now let's see if we can get the snap ring on it without any issues. Last time I powder coated a swing arm with a different person, this was a nightmare to get this thing back in here. This is just one of the rotor guards that installs instead of your factory one, and it comes with like a protector on it. Not too bad on clearance. Parts. Uh-oh. With not that much wobble either. I mean, there's a little bit, but hey, what can you expect? Even the lower bolts are clean. I'm telling you, you find a good powder coater, whatever price they say, just go ahead and pay it. Maybe even leave them a tip, buy them dinner. Because the last couple times I've done powder, I probably spent 3 hours on a full frame, everything, every part, getting a tap out, drilling every hole out. This is way easier. And then I think I added a couple parts. I added a front bumper, which was not in the original order for $175. The new guy was $190, just in case anybody wants to know what the average price for powder coating is. That was the swing arm, sprocket, star piece, and a bunch of little pieces, probably 2 handfuls of little pieces, and then an entire front bumper. That's how much it ended up being. Alright, so we're not going to tighten these down all the way, just because we got to get the chain tension right, and that's coming up pretty soon. Alright, time to put our swing arm in. We got our O-ring on this side, so make sure to not leave your O-ring on there because it will get torn off. Bam. I usually don't go too heavy on the grease on this side just because you don't want it slinging into your rotor. That would be a bad time to stop. And make sure you don't touch your rotor with your greasy little fingers. So just a thin coat on this guy that goes inside the bearing. We'll put a little bit on the splines too, maybe stop some more dirt. Alright, bearing side in, just like that. Axle nut will worry about smashing that the rest of the way in there. Oh, it's pretty darn close. So now we don't want to use our axle tool too much. We'll probably use a piece of plastic on the other side because our sprocket guard is powder coated now. Alright, so now we got our outer ring, and we're going to put the concave toward the inside. Just make sure these line up. Something like that. And then we got our washers and our luck nuts. One step closer. Alright, now we got the finishing touch before we put just the wheels and new front bumper back on. We're going to keep the old front bumper as a spare. That'll just be like our ride day bumper. One HD chain. I've been using the primary drive. I know they're not the strongest thing, but I've had pretty good luck with them, so I'll keep on using them as long as they're in stock. Looks like our carrier is way off. There, we got enough slack in it now. Make sure our O-rings are still on there. Outside O-rings. That's looking good. Got these new tusk pliers that are made for master links. Make it a little bit easier. I would say it's like a little bit easier, like 5% easier. Alright, chain's looking sweet. This last piece was kind of like a bonus piece. It came in off of another bike and it just didn't make sense for it to be on there, completely stock bike. So I took it off and sent it off to Powdercoat with all of our other stuff. And we'll throw it on here and see if we like it. I know it's going to get scratched up. But hey, if it looks cool, it looks cool. If not, we'll take it back off. But this one we got for free, so it will not be free. It has these little spacers. We'll see if we need these or not. Yeah, I think without the spacers it's gonna hit. So we'll add the little spacers in there. And our new Powdercoat guy did the little spacers as well. And looking Looking really good for little tiny parts that are hard to do. Not bad. You kind of notice it, but not really. I think we'll leave it on there for now. Alright, so we got our new freshly powder coated front Pro Armor bumper. It's weird, these logos are actually different. Like this one's kind of smooth. This one, the little tabs broke off, drilling the rivets out, or at least one of them did. Just barely turned, so I just cut them off. Probably hit this with a heat gun, just make sure it stays on there. But like this logo is actually like textured, which is kind of cool. And I think it almost exactly matches the color. So that's pretty sweet. So now we'll put it on and make sure to not drop it, not stare at it too long. Don't breathe too hard next to it. Just since this will be like the showroom version. And then whenever we go ride, I'll slap that other one on the front just in case. Not to hit stuff, but even like the truck, I'm pretty sure the rub mark on the front, this bumper sticks out pretty far. So I want to say it was rubbing the bed liner on the truck, just headed to the trail. That was That'll do it. So these Hyper Tech 3s, these are the old ones. They have an O-ring in the center of the wheel. They are a three-piece wheel with the bead lock. I got them used, so they were free to me, so I'm not too upset that they leak a little bit. But I wanted to try to break them apart. I know I'd seen on forums way back in the day that people were taking them apart and siliconing this O-ring or whatever they were doing to them. I had never had a set apart because most of my other stuff that has Hypers has tire balls in it, so I don't have to worry about that really. The tire has minimal air. But sure enough, pop this O-ring out of the center and there's a big dent in it next to one of the lug nuts. And could happen to the factory, I don't know. These wheels could have already been rebuilt one time. I did my best to line all this back up, torqued it all to spec, and put bead seal in the groove and then coated the O-ring with it, especially where the O-ring was dented. Torqued the center ring, torqued the bead lock ring all back down, put the tire on the correct way. I know y'all been giving me crap about that. I just wanted to see if it would seal, and sure enough, it didn't. But yeah, finished this whole project, complete waste of time, at least with bead seal. So I will be back with some probably silicone, like just some heavy duty silicone. I should have gone full send the first time on it because now it leaks worse than it did before. So full send next attempt and let the silicone dry before I air the tire up. So it feels good to finally have my vision completely done with the gold chain, the swing arm to match the front. I really like how it turned out. The first go around, I think we were on a time crunch. We were actually going to take this Raptor to Glamis, and then that trip ended up getting canceled from injury. So maybe this time, maybe this coming summer, then we'll actually make it out to Glamis with it. But really happy how it turned out. I will keep on testing that dual row sprocket guard because the clearance is super tight in between the swing arm. I'm hoping no rocks come up and get stuck in between that. I don't think it will, but you never know until you test it. But yeah, if you made it to the end, appreciate you watching. And here's a sneak peek of what we have coming. 2020 Raptor 700, long travel, big three. It's going to be sweet. Take this thing from completely caked in mud with some SS wheels to a really nice set of beadlocks, lots of parts from Hauser Racing, Rocket Ron suspension, and see if we can get the customer's reaction on this one.